afternoon, and welcome back to the new season of Real Estate Talk with Lisa. If you've been waiting, I want to thank you for your patience, and I want to thank you for being our returning audience. It's just so good to be back. Reggie, it's good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. As you may know, if you've been a viewer of the show, this is Reginald Derrickson. He's a mortgage banker with Old Line Bank. So if you've not met him before on our show, you're in for a treat today. As you see the sign behind us, that's our new logo, and this is our theme. It's called Open Doors 2019. And what's that mean? Well, our theme here on the show, Real Estate Talk with Lisa, is to educate, empower, and motivate you to action. In what area of real estate that you're looking for, we want to help you get there. And so this year we're really proclaiming that it's going to be a year of open doors, even though it may not look like it. It may be some circumstances that are clouding your way. With perseverance, right, Reggie?
Absolutely.
And determination, you can get there. Our tagline is opening the door with keys of independence. And today, as we talk about grants, we're going to be giving you some keys that we hope that you will use to achieve your independence with respect to being a home purchaser in the marketplace. Now, just a little housekeeping, if you will. If you're viewing us now or in the replay, please hit the like button. Please hit the share button, because someone you know may need this information. Right now, we're broadcasting on WBGR's Wellness Network on Facebook Live. You can also find the replay on that channel and on our show's Facebook page, Real Estate Talk with Lisa, and later this evening on our YouTube page, also entitled Real Estate Talk with Lisa. In the following week, you'll be able to view us on your television, on the Roku and the Amazon Fire Stick pages, and WBGRTV.com by just putting on your Roku and Fire Stick, just type in WBGR TV, and you'll be able to pull us up at our regular time, and you'll be able to see this episode again. We try to be everywhere that you can find us. And I am, if it's your first time, I'm your host. I'm Lisa Jeffery. I am a realtor with Fairfax Realty Elite. And I just enjoy being able to serve my clients and to serve them information. You can reach me at 301-542-5168. That's my direct number. And the office number is 301-794-9400. And we'll give that information to you again before the show ends. So right now, we're just going to dive right into our subject matter, all about grants. This is our Show You the Money segment. So Reggie, what can you tell us about these grants? Everybody's like, I want some money to help get my house. Yes. I got a little bit of savings, but I don't have all my down payment, or I got some down payment funds, but I don't have the closing costs. Can you help them?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We love to help. One great thing at Old Line Bank, we're a community bank.
Yes.
The great thing is there's a ton of grant money. And the grant money, you're looking at federal grants, state, county, local level. So it's great because as being a community bank, we have access to all the programs.
Very good. So you can be like a one-stop shop.
One-stop shop. And, I have fun reviewing, analyzing each and every one individual situation so we can put them in the right product, but also share the information so you can make the best decision for you and your family. And that's
Excellent.
what I enjoy doing, is giving information so we all can, work together and figure out what's best.
That's right. Now, sometimes people want to know, how to access grants, and we know that it is money that you can use for your purchase. And the programs come with different kinds of requirements and stipulations to them?
Absolutely. They all have requirements and stipulations, but before I dive into grants real quick,
okay,
I just want to kind of use that as a main title.
Okay.
But also include with the grants is down payment assistant loans,
okay,
as well as below market interest rates. So
there's
so many choices. Okay?
Got a whole shopping bag full of stuff?
Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
All right.
And in many cases, we can layer the programs.
And see,
So
that's what I'm talking about.
yes,
You know, I was on In and Out of Sports with Coach Book McAdams this past Sunday, and we were talking about this show coming up.
yes,
And one of the things I was saying that in our conversations with you is that when you can layer the grants, it's like going to Safeway or your favorite grocery store. It doesn't have to be Safeway, and you got your loyalty card, so you're gonna get some money off,
that's
and then
right.
you got your coupon, and you're gonna get some money off, and then they say, hey, it's double coupon day, and so you get some more money off. So you started out with a $5 item, and you leave with your receipt, and you only pay 50 cents. That's kind of how that layering process works, right?
Not exactly,
Not
but
exactly.
you
Is
have
it
to
close?
it's very close. It's very similar concept.
You just left me hanging.
Yes.
Just left me hanging.
I'm sorry about that. But the thing is with grants, the great thing about it is the borrowers do not have to pay it back.
That's good.
Usually it's tied to where both state, county, federal are looking to revitalizing communities. So they're
Yes.
helping individuals get in. And if you're in there for 5 years, some programs 10 years, and it's completely forgiven.
Excellent.
Okay?
Excellent.
So that helps
That
you.
relieves that burden,
Correct.
that financial burden of, how am I going to get them, how I'm going to pay this off, because sometimes you may be already at a particular price point,
Yes.
and then to have the burden of having to pay more back, that you're relieved from that.
Correct. And the other part of it is like I said a moment ago, down payment assistant loan.
Okay.
So down payment assistant loan works great as well because you still have a good rate, okay, interest rate for your mortgage, but also you're looking at no payments, no interest on those down payment assistant loans. That's going to help with down payment or closing costs
Okay,
until you sell or refinance the property.
So you said loan with no interest.
No interest. So
Okay.
that means there could be funds there to cover your down payment, or
Okay.
or funds there to cover your closing costs.
Okay.
So now you don't have to make any payments on that loan for those funds until you sell or refinance. So now
that's
you're building
awesome.
equity in your home.
That's
You're
good.
not
That's
at
right.
a rush to do anything with it. If you want to wait until 30 years down the road, you can do that.
That's right. And by
and-
then you may have accumulated enough equity where
Absolutely.
paying back that loan is just not even a thought
Absolutely.
in terms of being able to move forward, moving up, or downsizing, whatever your option might be. So let's see, we got grants.
Yes.
Okay.
Down payment assistant loan.
Okay.
And also below market interest rates. So with the grants and down payment assistant loans, the great thing is a lot of individuals can afford payments because, as you know better than I do when it comes to rents.
Yes.
Rents can be up there, very expensive.
That's right.
Mortgage is not too far away. They're in the same ballpark, but as you know, you're building equity.
That's right. And you have something that belongs to you that you can pass on to your family.
Right.
It could be the family home, all of that.
So you're saying acquiring wealth.
Yes, acquiring wealth. Exactly.
Absolutely. So now individuals who don't have those funds to get into the house.
Yes.
Now you have the funds with the grants, down payment assistant loans. Of course, if you want to use gifts from relatives.
Okay.
Of course, there's tax refund checks. So
Yeah.
there's a number of ways you can put, funds together. Like I mentioned, layered. But my layering is really focused more so on multiple programs.
Okay.
So
Okay.
for example, with us, because we have the federal programs, the state programs, not all lenders and banks have it because we're a community bank.
Right.
We can then take, one of the county programs
Okay.
or one of the state programs and blend them or layer them with the federal. So that
That's
means
excellent.
there's many folks getting in with very, little of their own funds, which is great.
So what you're saying is, don't be discouraged if you don't have everything like you need it to be. That there's opportunities out there for you to still be able to move forward.
Absolutely. In worst case, we'll give you a game plan, and we need your help to help us with a timeline. Because there may
Okay.
be certain things you may have to work on. You may have to save a certain amount of funds. You may have to pay something down. Because
Right.
there are a few criterias primarily for the programs. One is there is a minimal credit score.
Okay.
In addition to that, the grants are tied to household income.
Okay.
In most cases, is about 80% of the median income.
Okay.
Debt to income ratios. So those are the main things we're looking at.
Okay.
So when we give a pre-qualification letter or a pre-approval letter, we're giving you an estimated purchase price, but also the
That's
main
right.
thing we're looking at is that housing payment. So when you go
Right.
out and shop and
That's right.
with your realtor and
That's
Lisa,
it. Yes,
then
me.
before you submit that offer, you send me that listing, and I'll make sure it's within that payment, housing payment for the debt to
Okay.
income ratio. Yes.
And this is why you guys often hear me say on the show, when even if you're just thinking about it, Reggie said a very important thing is, even if you're not ready, he can give you a game plan. I mean, it's one thing to be out here. You got your credit repair agencies, and I'm not knocking them. We're probably going to address that this year with some groups. But sometimes you may be focused on paying off a particular item, then that's not the item that's most important to the lender. And if you're looking to get into the house, who better to ask than the institution that's going to loan you the money, because they can give you the best advice to get to where you go. They're definitely going to be working for you versus working against you, because they're in the business to lend you money. So they want to make sure that you understand what are the best steps for you to take. And as you take them, they check them off. And then they say, okay, we're ready to go. And oftentimes they'll educate you about the lending side of the process, because that's his lane. When I talk to my clients, I can share about programs, but I always send them back to the lender because that's their lane. My lane, of course, is real estate. But you want to have that initial conversation. So even if you're looking at a 1 to 2 year mark, because we've worked with clients, I believe that we're on like a 1 to 2 year trajectory before they were actually ready to buy. But as they were moving along that time frame, they had a plan. And so it's important to get a game plan, for moving forward and know what's available to you.
Absolutely. With the Federal Home Loan Bank program, the federal program, is $5,000 that can go towards your down payment or closing costs.
Okay.
In addition to that, they have a community partners program as well.
Okay.
That's, it raises the dollar amount to $7,500.
Excellent.
And so you're looking at teachers, firemen, police officers, nurses. But guess
Okay.
what? You don't have to have those occupations. You could actually work for the school system.
Oh,
You
see,
could be the bus
because that used to
driver.
be a problem.
Yes.
Like, I work in the school system, but I'm not a teacher.
Correct.
So this kind of broadens it. Do
Yes.
they still have a veterans component to that program?
Absolutely. There's a veterans component. One of the components is $7,500 for veterans. And I guess some of you may be thinking, wow, with 0% down, why do you need additional funds? And one of the reasons is because of closing costs.
Closing costs.
We always talk about there's two sides of
That's right.
where funds have to go.
That's right.
Two buckets. One is your
buckets,
down
that's right.
payment bucket that you have to
That's
fill
right.
up. And with VA, veterans, or USDA, that's zero.
That's right.
But of course, FHA and conventional, you're looking at 3.5% and 3% respectively.
That's right.
Now, on the other side of it, you have your portion of closing costs.
That's right.
Now, closing costs, that varies from county to county. But let's say, for example, it's somewhere between 5% and 6%, including the escrows and prepaids and everything.
Right.
How you negotiate with your realtor
That's right. That's right.
is going to determine how much you have to put into that bucket.
That's right.
So now, if you're a veteran, you have zero bucket on the left in terms of funds that have to go into the down payment side. But on the other side, if you're in a competitive situation, it may be great to know that you don't need much or anything from the seller.
That's right.
So would that mean maybe that offer is a little more attractive?
That's a very good point, because I often explain to my clients, closing costs that sellers were giving was higher when it was a buyer's market, meaning there were a lot more sellers than there were buyers, and so sellers had to be a lot more competitive with the incentives that they offered to get buyers to come in and purchase their property.
Absolutely.
Now we're kind of coming out of the buyer's market. It's doing a little shifting right now. But sellers may not have, they may be shifting now, but they haven't been as apt to want to give you closing cost help, because there's so many other buyers out there. And
Absolutely.
essentially, when you're asking for closing cost help, you're actually asking the seller to help you purchase the house by giving back part of their proceeds to you for your cost to purchase their house. So you got to be clear about what you're asking for and how the seller sees that. But Reggie's very correct in saying when you're in a position where you're not dependent so much on that seller helping you, you can give a stronger offer, a more attractive offer that may put your offer a little higher than some of the other competitors.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So now, based on how you negotiate with your realtor, that's going to determine how much you need to put into that closing cost bucket. Okay.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
now the down payment assistant loan, the grants can determine, where you need to focus on covering those monies that you may need.
Excellent.
And it's great. I mean, we're finding a number of borrowers getting in with, a lot less.
That's right.
You're using your own. You're not using your funds. You're using some of the state, county, federal funds, which is fantastic.
That's right.
But the key is communicating, be on the same page, and that's one thing
Yes.
we stress. Matter of fact, at O-Line Bank, experience is our greatest asset, and that's
Mm-hmm.
because we've learned over the years. We've been around for a long time. Matter of fact, one great thing, all of our underwriting, funding,
Yeah.
decision making is done right here locally in Bowie, Maryland.
Yes.
Okay, so that's fantastic. We're here to take care of our community. We know the area,
Mm-hmm.
and we have access to all the programs. So now we want to make sure you understand the products and programs as well as your realtor. So when you're negotiating, anything you do from the negotiating side can affect how much you need to bring to the table.
That's right.
So as long as you're aware of those things, like if the closing help numbers go down or if they
Mm-hmm.
go up, it affects how much you need. So we really take pride in communicating and making sure that your realtor knows exactly what type of program or programs we're actually utilizing and using for you.
Excellent. Now we're going to take just a quick, about a 30-second break, and then we're going to come back to you and give you a little bit more information. So stay tuned because it gets better.
Are you hungry yet? Come on over to Peru's Chicken, where we're cooking up mouth-watering Peruvian-style dishes like quesadillas, tacos, burritos, yuca, arroz con mariscos, camarones a la parrilla, charbroiled chicken, fresh salads, and so much more. Our friendly staff at both of our locations, Lanham at 9001 Annapolis Road in Lanham, Maryland, or Mitchellville at 12106 Central Avenue in Mitchellville, Maryland, we are ready to serve you. Just come on in. Y claro que sí, hablamos español. Peru's Chicken. ¿Tengo hambre?
All right. Well, welcome back. We're on the second part of our Show Us the Cash segment here with my guest, Reginald Derrickson with O-Line Bank, and I'm Lisa Jeffery with the senior team of Fairfax Realty Elite. And we've been talking about grants in our earlier section, but now we're going to switch just a little bit and talk to you about something that's important to buyers and sellers, and that's purchasing a condo. And Reggie, I tell you, so many times I have clients that are at a particular price point and they see a condo that's in their price point, but then they hear those dreaded words, not FHA approved. And they may be doing an FHA loan and they're like, oh my gosh, it's not approved. And it could be for a number of reasons. There could be high condo delinquency, there could be an non-approved investor owner-occupied ratio, where there's more investors that own units than owners, and that could knock it out of the ballpark. But for whatever reason, it didn't get that approval, and you can't get your FHA loan for that property. And so sometimes people are just stuck. They say, "Well, I can't do it." And sometimes, if you're a seller and you're in a community where that's happened to you, maybe it was FHA approved when you moved in, and now it no longer is, and you want to sell your condo property, but you can't attract buyers that can come in and buy it. And I believe O-Line has a strategy for that. Is that right?
Yes, we have a strategy. Matter of fact, our strategy really helps the majority of the borrowers. A number of borrowers we've been able to help with our limited condo review.
Okay.
Now, Lisa, you're going to get on me for coming back to grants again.
Oh, it's okay. If it lines up, it's okay.
It does
okay.
line up.
All right.
So what happens with the limited condo review? Like you mentioned with FHA, it's 3.5% down.
Yes.
Okay. So now that knocks people out of that minimum down payment program.
Right.
For conventional does have a 3 and 5% down programs. But what happens there is if the condominium association is not approved for the full condo questionnaire, like you mentioned, the percentages,
Yes.
the delinquencies, the concentration for investors, then they're not going to be able to be approved for the full process. So we have a limited review where those borrowers who's willing to put, let's say, 10% down, now we can give you that limited process where we're not going to even ask you questions about the delinquency. There is a mild concentration percentage, but it's not similar to the full. It's much easier. It's not as stringent.
That's
and
good.
we found a number of folks who were able to be approved for that process. Now you can buy that condo. Now the next question is, where am I going to get 10% from?
That's right.
Okay.
Because let's say that condo is like a 100,000. Let's say, because some of them are out there like that, and you need 10,000 down, and you're like, look, I was happy that I found that FHA program because I was doing 3.5%. That worked for my pocket. What can O-Line do for them, or what can you do for them if they're in that position?
So what we can do, if the condominium association passes the limited condo review,
Yes.
just 10% down, now we can bring in grants.
Okay.
We can give you that county grant. Matter of
Wait a
fact-
minute. I
Yes.
got a condo,
Mhm.
and it's not FHA approved.
Okay.
And so the other people said, no, we can't do it. And then you telling me,
If it's not,
yes, we can.
Well, I'm telling you, if it's not FHA approved, if you can't go through the full condo approval process for conventional, we have a limited review that you may qualify for.
All right, so there's an option.
There's an option.
And then if I say to you, well, let me see. I don't see that down payment, Reggie.
That down payment. Now, you just happen to use the number is 100,000 for the condo. Well, Prince George's County has a program, Pathway to Purchase, where you can get up to, with one program, up to $10,000.
That's right.
So
Yeah,
now,
I've heard that.
10% of 100,000? Uh-oh.
That's it. and then there's more, right?
We can potentially layer the federal grant.
Okay.
The $5,000 if you qualify, or the $7,500. Again, everything is based on credit score, household income, and debt to income ratio. So we have to make sure we analyze things and make sure you qualify. But that's one of the first things we do. Up front, we let you know what you will qualify for. Now you have money for your down payment and money for a good portion of your closing costs.
Hey, listen, if you're liking what you're hearing, I need you to like and share this right now. It's only a click. Just click it, okay? Because I'm telling you, this is good stuff.
Yes.
And this is why we're here, is to give you things that you can take action on right away, which is a good segue into my next thing is on how you can take advantage of that right away. There's a sign up there, Home Buyers Boot Camp. Oh, it's gone again, but it's coming back around. But it's the Home Buyers Boot Camp, and we're gonna O-Line Bank is gonna host us in Bowie, Maryland. So Real Estate Talk with Lisa, and O-Line Bank. We're hosting that together. Yep, there it is again. It's
Awesome.
gonna be January 26th. From 10 to noon. Reggie's going to be there.
I'll be
we even
there.
have an underwriter on call. So,
Yes.
we got a limited time on the show. But he'll be able to go more in depth with you. So you'll be able to get more information not only about this program, but other programs. There's programs if you want to do a rehab or renovation. If you're looking at that type, if you're doing construction to permanent.
Purchase
What
a
else
lot.
you got?
If you like
Okay.
to purchase a lot. So we have so many programs, which is fantastic. And like I said, we're a community bank. We're reaching out because a lot of folks aren't aware of these programs. Sometimes you go to a lender that's limited.
Right.
We have fun because since we have almost all the programs, it's just a matter of what fits you best. And that's
Exactly.
where we'll give you options and work up scenarios for you.
So we want you to come out and participate. Of course, this is free, so you'll get information. You'll be able to get a financial analysis there because you'll be right at the bank. So they'll be able to look at you, pull your information and give you an idea of where you stand. And then you'll also be able to get an on-site approval if everything's already lined up. You're already in position.
Absolutely.
They'll be able to give you an approval right there on site. I think you said you're going to have your underwriter there.
Yes, we're going to have an underwriter right there, right here
Okay.
out of our Bowie office. And again, our Bowie office does all the underwriting, funding, processing, decision making for all 38 of our branches across the state.
So you're going to be right in the hot seat, the place to be. Now, the tickets are going to be on Eventbrite. We should have those up by this evening, but I need you to go on and register because we're going to have a little bit of refreshments in the morning, have some coffee and things for you. You don't want to be the only one there without a cup of coffee because you didn't pre-register. So please go to Eventbrite. We're going to post this up on our page. And we're looking forward to having you there. You can also call me for ticket information, 301-542-5168. Again, that's January 6th, Saturday morning, 10 to noon. We'd love to have you there, be able to answer your questions, and give you a strategy. It's January, so you can start off the beginning of your year with some direction with respect to your real estate goals. Reggie, I just want to thank you so much for being here. You always bring us good stuff, and we're going to be ready to receive and assist the folks. I'm going to be talking to you about the home buying process. That's my lane. So give you a little insight there and answer some of the questions about what you can expect once you are approved to go out and purchase and what that process is like. So again, I just want to thank you for being here. And guys, we're going to cut to a break now. And when you come back, you're going to be joined by my lovely co-host, Miss Reba Barnes. But before we go, Reggie, give them the address of the bank and the suite number and your contact information.
Sure. It's 4201 Mitchellville Road, Bowie, Maryland, 20716. Okay. We're right across the street from Kohl's.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so on the second floor. You can also reach me at my number, 301-352-4458. That's my direct line. And, as Lisa just mentioned, we're looking to either give you a strategy, a game plan, or have you walk out with a pre-approval or pre-qualification letter. So.
Excellent. And we're going to post Reggie's information. Of course, the flyer for the boot camp will be on our Facebook page, Real Estate Talk with Lisa. And then you'll be able to go to Eventbrite and go ahead and register. So hopefully we'll see you at the event, and we'll be right back.
Andre Gore's story. At age 14, he was incarcerated for truancy. Do you know what truancy is? Yep, not going to school. At age 14. And while in there, he learned to take drugs. He learned how to lie. He learned how to do all the things he didn't have to do, and it changed him for the worst. But he was just a child. As a result, he went in and out of prison until he was 41. He became a victim of modern-day slavery and was branded for life. That's what the system does to you. Until one day, he decided to remove the shackles of his mind and change his mindset. When he was leaving jail at 41, he didn't look back. He vowed to never go back. Today, Andre is a successful entrepreneur. He's also a motivational speaker with a conviction and drives to bring out the best in individuals. His unique approach has motivated many men, women, and teenagers to remove obstacles and move into their purpose with a can-do attitude. He's driven by an immense desire to help people believe in themselves through motivation. This was the impetus for the formation of 1441 magazine. You have a chance to break the cycle and take your life back with this breakthrough magazine that'll certainly change the way you think and will allow you to make positive lifestyle choices now. 1441 also offers mentorship, education, guidance, and counseling to people who have fallen victim to this system. Let's break that cycle and take your lives back with this breakthrough magazine. It'll certainly change the way you think and it'll allow you to make positive lifestyle choices. 1441 is a magazine that addresses our issues. You no longer have to become a victim of your past. Join us, subscribe, and volunteer. Visit our website, 1441magazine.com.
Okay, Reba. So we are back. Thank you for tuning back in. I tell you, I hope you enjoyed the grant information. Hope you found that useful. And we are going to be looking for you at the event. So now we're going to talk a little bit now. Everybody knows today is whose birthday?
Dr. Martin Luther King. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King.
That's right. And so we have, I think next week is going to be the official holiday. But we've been talking about Dr. King. We were talking about it before the show. And, a lot of times when we talk about the civil rights movement, we talk about what's going on in terms of voter rights and, desegregation and all of that. But there was always an economic side to the civil rights movement. From striking for wages and things like that. And so in our research, one of the things that we found was that it was really a catalyst, especially in the South, to more economic development.
Yeah.
And we were reviewing an article from Stanford. Guys, I still didn't get those bifocals, so here we go with the glasses. All right. But this was written by, let me see his name. I know it's Dr. Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T. As a young man, he had gone to the South and had participated in the civil rights movement. And just 8 years before Obama became president, he had written an article that was circulated, at Stanford as part of the Stanford News Service. And he was talking about how the civil rights movement was an economic success.
Yes.
And how ultimately it benefited the South. He talked about how difficult it was to talk to some of those business owners, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Those white business owners to get them to. He was trying. He had gone down as a bus trip from Minnesota. And
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And his name, Lisa, is Gavin Wright.
Gavin Wright. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And one of the things they were going down to help register people to vote and get the movement started, and they wanted to ask some of the white business owners to hire African Americans. They were not for it, were they, Reba?
Not at that time. It evolved only because Dr. King and his team put a team together of plans for economic impact called the Good Old-Fashioned Boycott. Okay? So a lot of things happened back in those days to make things happen that happened back in the latter part of the 90s.
Right.
In the latter part, then that Dr. King's plan had a real impact.
That's right. That's right. And that's some of what we see now in terms of, and he said that it was funny because, everybody focuses on all the other things, but it was just, he said it was like night and day. He said in 63, everything was still segregated. But what happened when he went back in 66?
Everything was open to hotels opening to African Americans. The idea of the term of segregation actually almost had gone away because people realized the impact of having everyone at the table.
Everyone at the table and the flow of commerce. You say, well, this is a real estate show. Why are you talking about it from that perspective? One of the segments that we're going to be adding in this season, it's a new piece, a more direct focus. We addressed it last season, is talking about economic development, because home ownership and economic development kind of go together, because when the wages rise, when you have greater employment, then you see more people in the marketplace able to buy houses, purchase investment properties, those types of things. So I don't think you can really have one without the other in an equitable fashion. So we are going to be shedding shedding more light on economic development in Prince George's County, Montgomery County, other areas of Maryland. We have Amazon coming, so Virginia, D.C., from a macro view, like a county view, to in some cases a neighborhood view.
Right.
As we can get information in to talk about what is going on in our communities. And so that's why we took this particular approach to King's birthday, just to highlight that he was looking for economic equality as well, the ability to be able to get a job, the ability to work.
Yes.
And so that was a key thing, and the recognition, because this was, I think, when Dr. Gavin Wright put this forth, it wasn't like a commonly recognized aspect of the civil rights movement was the economic change that had taken place. And like you said, with everything being integrated in 66, because the question was, okay, African Americans may have benefited, but did whites in the South benefit from the fact that the civil rights movement had passed? And yes, because as business owners now, you are getting more revenue from a greater portion,
and a broader audience.
Yes.
Broader buying audience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so that's good for all of the economy. He said, notwithstanding the fact that you still had poverty, and blacks were more subject to poverty and employment challenges, on the overall, it made a great difference. And the fact was that it happened so quickly. There was other points that he made about the process in terms of how things could be done better, because he said, looking at government, because we're all, like what law is being passed, and some people focus on the larger, what's the congressional law, what's the federal law, what's going on there. But he talked a lot about the grassroots things that take place, and how those federal laws are tools that then enable people to work it out. Because he said a lot of the people in the South were reluctant to make that call. Like, maybe some people may have felt like maybe we should do it different, but they weren't going to be that person,
the initiator.
That's it. That's right. Like, I might follow, but
the innovator.
But then when you had that, that mandate come down, okay, now we have to do this. Now you can no longer do that. Then they learned how to work within that context, that framework of, okay, now we have to do something. Now we have to do it differently. And sometimes it takes that, because it removed the burden of the decision from individuals, but once the decision had been made, they were willing to work within that framework. And he was and it was so funny, because like you said, we were talking about it on the ride here, it was just only 8 years after his report that Obama was president, and he was saying that, that's how we should look at government. We should have
it should be equal.
Yes, and that we should have a multicultural approach to our politics,
having
so
diverse.
That diversity there to give us the tools that we need legislatively to then enact the proper manner of conduct within our greater society, for jobs, for wealth building, for all those things that make us a community.
Well, we talked earlier also about these impacts of Dr. King's and his team's movement.
Yes.
That it also involved for things like the National Association for Real Estate.
Yeah, NAREB.
For NAREB.
They worked with it.
And then, of course, that later on it evolved to become NABWIC, women who are involved in construction. And that's in the National Association of Black Women in Construction.
Yes.
That's very important as well. But then you also still had, before that, because of the march and all that, the Voting Rights Bill became signed.
Yes.
So everybody had a chance to do different things at a different pace.
Right. That's correct.
And there's certain things in the article today. Mrs. Eva Clayton, met her years ago. We had our Women's Day at our church years ago, and she was our speaker.
Oh, wow.
She was, at the time when she was Congresswoman, she was the African American president of the congressional class that year.
Right. Okay.
And my good friend Verna Payne, it's her sister's mother-in-law.
Okay.
So we had a chance to do that great networking.
That's
To
right.
bring a very powerful program.
Excellent.
And she didn't just speak; she preached. She was wonderful.
Excellent. But then that's the key in being able to bring the generational message in terms of what has been done previously, what we're standing on in terms of previous years of work, but also now, looking ahead as to what else needs to be done. The gaps that we see. I know, last year we did a piece with NAREB. We did a couple of pieces with them. NAREB, if you're not familiar with the acronym, because I know I always hate it when people use acronyms and I don't know what it is.
Can explain it.
It's the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. They were started in 1947 as an organization for African American and other ethnic realtors that were not accepted by white realtors and into the White Realtors Association at that time. And they, along with the NAACP, were very instrumental in working on the Fair Housing Act, which didn't have as much teeth when it was passed as it did in later years, but it was a significant step because it put things into law. NABWIC, as Reba mentioned, was the National Association of Black Women in Construction, which is another powerful organization that would not probably have existed, and have the reach that it could have now had it not been for some of the things here. Another thing that he pointed out in the article, which was interesting, and it was not just him. I'm going to quote because we're saying that some of the things in the South were still hadn't changed. There was a lot of growth, but not as much. And the majority of the growth, the economic growth, was in the metropolitan areas.
Right.
And Jesse Jackson had once said that Atlanta would never have had CNN, the Braves, or the Olympics if it had not been for the civil rights marches. And we know so much African American business comes out of the Atlanta area. It's like its own mecca. I think Atlanta has like the largest airport in the country, or one of the largest airports in the country. Is that right?
True, to my understanding. And the thing is, I think the mayor's name was Maynard.
Yes, I remember him.
Okay.
Yes,
he was one of the very first African American mayors.
That's right.
But he made such great monetary and community and economic growth.
That's
no
right.
No one could believe that a black man could do that.
That's right.
At the time.
That's right.
And he was the first to put shops in the airport.
I did not know that.
See, from my other years of other research, that's still in the back of my head that he was the first to do that, to put shops in the airport.
Excellent.
He was a real innovator. Yeah, and very highly respected for that as well.
So I would say, because we're going to talk about another subject that kind of flows into this, but I would say, it's King's birthday. I think we should take a step back as individuals and collectively as our communities to see, as we look at the disparities, King's movement didn't start from the government down. It started from the people up. And I think as people, we have to determine what we want to see and start being instrumental in it. Yes, the marches are good. I'm not decrying that, but I think looking at starting with our neighborhood, first, I guess we have to start with our home. What's the scripture say? Jerusalem, then Samaria, and the outermost part. So, starting looking at our home. How is our home modeling the values that we want to see? Are we modeling in front of our children if we're parents? How are we living our lives? January, we got God willing, the rest of the year. So here we are in January. It's time for that reflection, not necessarily resolutions, but reflection about. We know there's been a not a not peaceful flow of events right now. We know we have colleagues, co-workers, family members that are being impacted by this impasse in the legislature, which is a clear signal that you can't count on the government to be the solution for what ails us. So now you got to look, okay, where am I with my home? How have I got it structured? Have I got a sinking ship? Have I got some leaks in my ship? How can I be economically sound? How can I be better structured for success? Okay, let me look at my community. What's going on in my community? There was a time when everybody knew what was going on in the community. You know, communities were structured differently. We understand we're in a new time, so we have to think about that. And in light of what what King promoted, because we look at the I Have a Dream speech.
Yes.
But and yes, we're gonna all walk down the street together and hold hands. I got that. But he also was very pro equal opportunities for jobs, to be able to work, to be able to have wealth, to be able to have a home. And I think we owe it to ourselves, on this King's birthday, to really think about his birthday in respect to that, and how, in whatever incremental or large ways that we can, to promote that to the healing of our communities, whatever community that we find ourselves in. How can we be a positive force for change? Because that one man made a difference, but he didn't do it by himself.
But the team effort now, Lisa, the team effort now for King's birthday, the mission has always been a day off is a day on, to work in the community, help the schools renovate, to help those who might be homeless be fed.
That's right.
My niece is going to have a big program with her colleagues on King's birthday to feed the homeless in Baltimore.
Okay.
There are all kinds of programs that are going on right now with people being out of a job, but they still have a job.
Right.
Okay. The job is not the same. There's no check.
That's right.
And right now, until we get the powers that be to really look at everyone's needs. So our entire King's birthday this year, to me, is a higher impact.
Yes.
It's a matter of getting out there and helping,
Right.
supporting, donating when you can and where you can.
That's right.
Not just money, but time as well.
Yes.
And also family love, having prayer together on King's birthday, and not letting the shutdown be a bring down for the family.
That's right.
Yeah, you
That's
gotta build up and have
That's
a
right.
day on for King's mission,
That's right.
and then to do things that will not make the shutdown get on your nerves.
That's right.
It's a learning lesson. Put more beans in the pot and keep on
That's
going.
right. That's right. And on the note about the employees, there are a number
Yes,
of
there are.
resources. We were going to try to list them all here, but it's so many. But if you go to our Facebook page later this afternoon, we'll provide links to all of the opportunities that we've seen for food, for the different places that you can go to.
Right.
There's a restaurant going to be opening up on Pennsylvania Avenue that's going to be feeding starting tomorrow. So there are a number of resources, and I'll put that on the page, all the different links that we've come across
Exactly.
to be able to be part of getting the word out. And please feel free to share that information with whomever that you may need it. Check on your neighbors. We just came out of the holidays. A lot of people didn't have a holiday or felt some caution about having a holiday because of the uncertainty of the atmosphere. We know that depression can run high when you have all that energy, and you're used to having your routine, and now your routine is disrupted, and it doesn't seem like an end. Just check on your neighbors and give them a call and encourage them as they go through this time, so they don't feel like they're going through it alone.
And there are several food banks that are
true.
open and available So you want to look at your share program. I've heard it's share.org.
Yes.
They have food that's available at certain days of the month.
That's correct.
And the communities offered that still for many years now.
Yes.
But the share program is a good program to look into. New Life Church in Capitol Heights, Maryland, has a program on this coming Friday. But you must have your federal government ID for that program. And the federal, I think it's the Navy Federal Credit Union.
Okay.
If you are already a member of that credit union, they can lend you money through your automatic deposits already coming in.
Okay.
It's not there now, but they're willing to work with you if you have your own account with them already.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And your federal ID.
Okay.
Yes, Lisa.
Okay. I just wanted to you wanted to make mention of the Asala event. We're going into Black History Month next month. And Asala is Carter G. Woodson's organization.
Yes, it is.
That started us out with Black History Month.
And the theme this year is the Black Migrations. So you want to go to asala.org. It's ASALH.org. And if you want to get a ticket for that, it's also on Eventbrite this year.
Okay.
And so everyone's invited to come down for the luncheon and for the author's book signing before the luncheon at 12 noon. Between 10 o'clock and 12, there'll be about 30 authors there waiting to welcome you, including Donna Brazil and her colleagues who wrote the book For Colored Girls Who Consider Politics. It's going to be quite an event for the first 100 people that sign up. They can come down and get involved with that as well. But you got to have your tickets in hand. You can show your telephone this year for that as well. It's going to be an interesting process this year.
It sounds like I was there last year with Reba, and I'm telling you, it was a fantastic event. There was so many people there and so many authors, so it was really great.
Yeah.
Well, we want to thank you for your time. We're getting ready to sign off. We want to thank you for joining us on our premiere event episode for this year. We're so glad. That's right. New year, new you, new home.
And Open Doors
That's
2019.
It. Open Doors 2019. So we thank you for being just a wonderful audience. And like I said, make sure you like and share the episode. Again, this is Lisa Jeffery, Fairfax Realty Elite. You can reach me at 301-542-5168. The office number is 301-794-9400. Reba is our publicist for the show, my co-host. So, if you have a real estate topic that you'd like to share with our audience, we'd love to have you as a guest for the show. You can reach Reba at
301-420-0000.
So remember, you can find us Facebook, YouTube, Roku, and Amazon Fire Stick. And next week, we'll see you
at the
show.
Andre Gore Story.